Time to do some filming. Alright folks, welcome back to part 5 of this Vortec 350 build. Got the other set of heads off the engine that was in the truck. Preliminary inspection, I'm not seeing any cracks. My dad cleaned them up a little bit with a wire wheel and then soaked them down with Goo Gone, which we have found works pretty darn good for breaking up the carbon and stuff. So these are still fully assembled. Show you here. Still has all the rocker arms on them. All the valves are still in them. So here in a little bit, I'll show you what I was talking about with the tool I like using to get these things to come loose. Now, one thing I like to do before I even put the tool on them is right here on your, your keeper. I guess that's what that's called. Yep. Yeah, your upper keeper. I'd give them a tap with a hammer to make sure that your actual keepers down inside are going to come loose when I take and compress the spring. You don't want to hit them real hard. Just give them a little bit of tap like over here on the side. You just go dink on each one of them just to make sure that there's no carbon or burnt oil holding them in there. Alright, so when I get set up, I'll show you a little bit more. Okay, so show you what I mean here with the tapping these here valves. I like to use plastic hammer. Try not to use metal because, you know, metal will damage stuff. So all you're doing, like I said, right here on the edge of this, you're just giving it a tap. Nothing real hard. Just like that, just to make sure that those keepers aren't going to give you any grief coming out of that retainer. That's what it is. It's an upper retainer. Ha! I knew I'd think of it eventually. Show you more in a bit. Okay, something I wanted to tell you guys because I ran into this on my Suburban out there. When you're pulling apart these heads and you're taking your rocker arms off, actually point where I'm pointing would help. You want to double check the inside here and how well you can see that little shiny area in there. You want to make sure that that is smooth, and your fulcrum here, want to make sure that's pretty smooth too. Because if you're going to reuse these parts after cleaning them, they need to be smooth. Because I found on my Suburban, kind of by accident, because what ended up happening was this here rocker stud sheared off on me while we were running it, and we couldn't figure out why the thing wouldn't run right. Well, here, this thing it broke, so that's junk. But what we also found out at the same time, see all those little lines in there? If this thing will focus. There it goes. Yes, that is as rough as it looks. Not exactly sure how that happened, except for maybe the top end was a little bit starved for oil. I don't know. But I found probably half a dozen of these when I replaced the rocker studs and the nuts, and I had to replace them. Fortunately, I had some old ones laying around, but got to make sure you check these wear items. These here, quote unquote, don't wear out, but always check them. Okay, so I got this set up on here. This is what I was talking about with this here old school valve spring compressor. It's a little bit easier to control. Get in here close enough that you might be able to see. These here are, these arms that come down are offset. One's longer than the other one. So of course your coil spring is in here at an angle. So you put the short side on the short, and the further down, the bigger guide, is where the longer one goes. And basically, you just hold on to this thing, spin this down till it's compressed enough that you can push the valve up, get the keepers, these little wedge pieces out of here, out of the way. Here in a little bit, I'll actually show that in process when I got somebody to hold the camera for me. But, or the phone in this case. But, yeah, that's pretty much how I do these. Like I said, for me, it's easier. So, this is the last one, showing you how this works. You want to keep a hold of this thing, excuse me, keep it squeezed and keep it from turning. Twist this down until you can't twist it no more, because that means the spring is in coil bind condition. It's fully compressed. Okay, done. Come on here, make sure you push up on the valve. Now see, this one didn't pop loose when I hit it. So now this is very dangerous. Don't do this at home. Get it to break loose. Then what I do is I'll take a pick, come in here, pop these keepers out, and sometimes they're a bear. You gotta kind of feel for where's a good spot to get them out. These are just enough. There we go. Pop the keeper out, pop the spring off, you're done. Alright folks, well, we have come to the conclusion of checking these heads, and thank God they are good, not cracked. Main part you want to check on these Vortec heads from the factory is between the valves right here, because these two here are, this is the center two. I'll zoom back a little bit here, you can see that. They're the ones that get the most heat because both these exhaust valves are right next to each other. They like to crack in around here and across here. These are the main trouble areas with the Vortecs. Now, I cleaned up all of the exhaust ports just to be sure that none of them were cracked, and I did it on both heads. So, this is a good set. So, that's it for today. Have a good one.